With the first pick in the 2017 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Markelle Fultz from the University of Washington.
Markelle Fultz is one of the biggest what-ifs in NBA history, in my opinion. He was the next man up at the point guard position, the next Rose, the next Curry. He was the man that was supposed to become an icon. Even with all the hype surrounding him, I would still consider myself one of the biggest hype men of Fultz back in 2017. Unfortunately, looking back 7 years later, that couldn't have been further from the truth. But coming into the NBA, Fultz was seen as a generational point guard who's putting up 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists per game in college. Philly was so confident in him that they traded up to the number 1 overall pick to pair him with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Obviously, looking back, this move of course didn't go as planned because on December 4th, 2018, Fultz was finally diagnosed with thoracic outlet syndrome, which was 530 days after the NBA draft back in 2017. So let's picture a scenario where Fultz is diagnosed and treated far earlier than he was, and he also bounces back to his old self to become the superstar that everyone thought he would become. We can expect the first season of his career to go pretty much the same as it went. Fultz plays only 14 games his entire rookie season, averaging only 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. Showing flashes of superstardom though, flashy passes, exceptional mid-range game, and aggressive defense. The only thing not shown yet is his ability to shoot long distances and free throws. But the biggest difference in this scenario is the Philadelphia training staff quickly catches his syndrome, and throughout the season and the following offseason, Fultz makes a full recovery. And throughout that offseason, since Fultz hasn't changed anything with his game, there's not going to be any changes throughout the draft or free agency. So Aiden's still going to be a Sun, Doncic is still going to be a Maverick, Trae Young's still going to be a Hawk, etc., etc. Less than a month after the 2018 season begins, the 76ers make a blockbuster trade, acquiring Jimmy Butler from the Minnesota Timberwolves. This trade hindered Markelle's ability to show his full potential. This did take the pressure off of Fultz to produce at a high level, but as the season went on, his role slowly diminished, and he became so frustrated that he actually requested a trade. And just like that, the Philadelphia 76ers on February 7th, 2019, trade Markelle Fultz to the Orlando Magic in exchange for Jonathan Simmons, a future first, and a future second-round pick. This will soon leave the 76ers in shambles because Jimmy Butler in the offseason signs with the Miami Heat, and of course, they have no idea that Markelle Fultz is about to blow up. Year 3 begins. Fultz's trade to the Orlando Magic following his recovery becomes a turning point. Freed from the weight of the expectation in Philly, he begins to flourish in Orlando. His averages steadily improve, he develops a consistent shooting form, and he finally starts to look like the player everyone thought he would be. His first season with the Magic becomes a remarkable transition. Fultz averages 16 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds per game, showing a newfound confidence and a return to his collegiate form. His improved shooting from beyond the arc becomes a key element of his game, and he finally breaks the barrier that seemed to hold him back in Philadelphia. He emerges as one of the most promising young talents in the NBA, of course earning the respect from his teammates, the admiration from the fans from him coming back from injury, and he becomes awarded as the most improved player in the 2019-2020 season. A move the Sixers will soon regret making. Fultz is now a number 2 option on the Magic and thriving with his best season yet. Going into the draft, the Magic ended up slightly better than they did in real life, ending with the 16th pick.
With the 16th pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Cole Anthony from the University of North Carolina.
Amidst being the most improved player in all of basketball, the Magic still want to grab a guard to be locked up for years to come, because outside of Fultz, there's Evan Fournier and there's Terrence Ross, 2 players that are at this point getting up there in age, so they're looking to get younger at the guard position. Going into year 4, Fultz is surrounded with Evan Fournier at the 2, Terrence Ross at the 3, Aaron Gordon at the 4, and Nikola Vucevic at the 5, with Cole Anthony coming off the bench. Fast forward 8 games, the Magic are 6-2 with the 1 seed in the East, with Markelle Fultz being the second leading scorer on the team, averaging 20 points a game on very high efficiency and over 90% from the free throw line. Fultz has since recovered from his injury, and in this perfect world, the mental difficulties he's dealt with in real life cease to exist. Going against the Cavaliers in just their 9th game of the season, Fultz inevitably tears his ACL just like real life and is out for the season, leaving the Magic without their main facilitator, and their season crumbles. During the trade deadline, the Magic still decide to ship Vucevic to the Bulls, looking to get their roster younger in their rebuild. Orlando ends the season with only 21 wins, even though they started off 6-2, and still ends up with a 5th overall pick.
With the 5th pick in the 2021 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Jonathan Kuminga from Goma, Democratic Republic of Congo.
With Cole Anthony off the bench and Markelle Fultz pending ACL injury playing at a potential all-star level, there's no point to pick up another point guard in Jalen Suggs. They also had the 8th overall pick in that draft, and they still go ahead and take Franz Wagner. So the squad's looking like Markelle Fultz at the 1, Cole Anthony at the 2, Wagner at the 3, Kuminga at the 4, and Wendell Carter from the Vucevic trade at the 5. Now this team is looking really young. Going into year 5 for Fultz, this is a prove-it year. This is the year he needs to show that he was the number 1 pick for a reason, to bring this team to the playoffs and become an all-star. True to form, Fultz does not disappoint. He comes back, his injury stronger than ever, leading his team with 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists per game, and earning his first All-Star selection. His performance solidifies his place as one of the league's elite point guards and proves that he was worth that number 1 pick. Unfortunately for the team, his personal success did not translate to wins. Ending the season 24-58, the Magic are tied with 14% odds to get the number 1 pick in this year's lottery.
The 3rd pick goes to the Houston Rockets. The 2nd pick goes to the Orlando Magic. And that means that the 1st pick in the 2022 NBA Draft will be made by the Oklahoma City Thunder.
And with that, the Thunder get the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, and they end up going Paolo Banchero with their pick. So that means,
with the 2nd pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga University.
That's right, history has been rewritten. Chet Holmgren is an Orlando Magic, and Paolo Banchero is an Oklahoma City Thunder. Fast forward to 2024 in real time, we still don't know who will end up being the better draft pick between Banchero or Holmgren, but I'm willing to bet with either of these guys, this version of Markelle Fultz will grow exponentially. Going into Season 6, Chet Holmgren was invited to Jamal Crawford's Pro-Am, but about a minute into the game, as Holmgren was defending LeBron James on a fast break, he planted his foot awkwardly and came up limping. He didn't return for the whole game and ended up being out for his whole rookie season. Fultz, on the other hand, took this opportunity to lay everything onto the court. With the roster looking virtually the same, Fultz leads the Magic to the 9 seed, leading his team with 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists per game. Fultz, at just 23 years old, has officially entered his prime. Now in a very important play-in game, the Magic are facing against the Miami Heat and ultimately beat them 102-91, knocking the potential Eastern Conference champions out of playoff contention. Unfortunately, this version of the Magic is not equipped to take Giannis 7 games, and they lose in a gentleman's sweep in 5. In real life, it's the Miami Heat who actually go up against the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round, and the Miami Heat end up making it to the NBA Finals. So since the Magic beat the Heat and the Bucks move on, it ends up being a Bucks versus Nuggets championship game, and it's the Milwaukee Bucks who win it in 6 games versus the Jokic-led Denver Nuggets, and Giannis gets his 2nd ring, with Jokic coming up with nothing so far. Going into year 7 for Markelle Fultz, he's starting to show himself as one of the biggest stars the league offers. And Chet Holmgren coming back to have his official first season, this is going to be a great duo for years to come. They finished the season with 53 wins and 29 losses, making them the 2 seed behind the Boston Celtics. Fultz has his best season yet once again, finishing the year with 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. He was not only one of the best shot creators this year, he was also all defensive second team. In the first round, this Magic team goes up against the Philadelphia 76ers, where the Magic win fairly comfortably in 6 games, winning that game 6 in the arena versus the team that gave up on him. Now going up against the 3 seed Knicks with Jalen Brunson and company, the Magic again win in 6 games fairly comfortably. Just losing 4 games so far in the NBA playoffs, the next challenge, of course, is the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Championship game. Unfortunately, this is where their streak comes to an end, and they lose to the Boston Celtics in another 6-game series, ending their championship hopes and sending their very young but very talented roster back home. And that brings us to pretty much present day. But going into year 8, Markelle Fultz at this point is a premium MVP candidate and will have high expectations with competing with the Celtics in the East for years to come. With Fultz at the 1, Cole Anthony at the 2, Wagner at the 3, Kuminga at the 4, and Chet Holmgren at the 5. I wanted to keep this as realistic as possible because I don't really think hypotheticals are fun unless there was a major possibility to happen. With that said, I think Markelle's shoulder injury still should play a big role in this hypothetical, and his ACL injury, because it brought so much more weight to his comeback. Fultz was never going to be a star in Philly. They gave up on him way too quickly, and of course, he does become the player we all thought he'd become in this scenario. All in all, when it comes to the league as a whole, even if Fultz ends up being an all-star in Orlando, the league wouldn't change too much. The biggest difference was Chet Holmgren going to Orlando instead of Paolo Banchero, but that was because the Magic ended up being slightly better than they were in real life due to Fultz playing at a higher level. But honestly, both Holmgren and Banchero are both going to be future stars in the league, so that's why I don't really think it's going to be too much different. Thank you guys so much for watching. What do you guys think? Are the Magic in a better position nowadays with Banchero and everyone else, or with Fultz playing at a higher level? Are they better off with him and Holmgren, and potentially Kuminga too? It could definitely be a blessing in disguise that Fultz never ended up becoming who he was supposed to become, because the Magic ended up with Paolo. So depending on what player you think is better between Chet and Paolo Banchero, that could determine what you think the best outcome would be for the Magic. With that said, let me know what you guys think about that video. I really want to make a lot more what if scenarios, even though it's so time consuming. This took me like a few days to do, but it's so much fun to make for you guys. So let me know what type of what if scenario you guys want to hear, or if there's any other types of videos that you guys like. Peace.
Yes,